All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Jared White. I'm the Director of Communications with the Florida Youth Soccer Association. We want to welcome, hopefully, all of you back to another week of great webinars that we have here at the state level. Just to let you know that this is GotSoccer for new registrars. So we will be talking about different tips and tactics that can kind of help you guys with the season coming up. Just to let you know, this is for the legacy platform. This isn't for the actual new platform that was shown this past week. So just to give you a highlight, we have Blake Harris from GotSoccer listed on the phone call with us, as well as Alice Smith, our board registrar, Joel Dragan, the executive director of FYSA. So we will be getting started here in just about 30 seconds. Just to let you guys know, as last week, if you caught any of them, this is being recorded for YouTube. So the only way to interact with us is going to be via microphone towards the end of the actual program tonight, and also via question in the chat box feature. So it should either be on your left or right side of the screen. Feel free to drop us a question there, and we'll be able to highlight any of those as they come in. So without further ado, I've already introduced it, but these are the people for tonight: Joel, myself, and Blake Harris. So Joel, do you have anything you want to add to the features for tonight that I might have missed?
No, actually, I really appreciate Blake's time from GotSoccer, and I appreciate everyone who's on. Thank you guys, and we're looking forward to another great week of webinars. Please feel free to utilize that chat box throughout. We'll open up the microphones at the end, and I believe Blake has about a 20 to 30 minutes of presentation. Again, this is for new registrars. And after that, we'll open it up to hopefully some really good free-flowing conversation and questions that Blake can show you around. So, Blake, have I missed anything?
Nope, you got everything pretty much. Just to reiterate, we are going over the legacy system, so I will be showing the stuff in the old system. If we have any questions on the new system and GotSport, like they said, we'll be doing the training sessions every Tuesday starting in November. So we'll get to that, but now we're going to kind of center everything on the old legacy system. I'm going to briefly run through some of the basics, even just as far as getting logged in, where to log in, how to get players into the system, how to clean up what you already have in there, and just kind of go down the list of everything you should be doing. And like they said, if you have any questions, shoot those chats in, but we'll circle back at the end and touch on anything that I did not go over. So, and if there's anything that the state wants to throw in, yeah, go ahead.
And then one last thing, Alice is trying to get in here, but I believe her microphone is unmuted. Alice, do you want to address anything before Blake starts?
No, I just want to welcome everyone and all the new registrars. And if you have any questions tonight, we can ask Blake. And if anything is not answered tonight, feel free to call me or Rosemary at the state office to answer any questions. Please do not hang out there and not get your questions answered. So if we don't cross it tonight, please give us a call or shoot us an email. I want to thank everybody for joining for tonight's session.
Thanks, Alice. That's a great point. I mean, they're truly, GotSoccer is used by 20-some different states, so there will be some disconnect or some things that are unique to the way that we handle things here in Florida versus nationwide. So your first line of support, try to make it with us at the FYSA office, Alice or Rosemary, and we can certainly escalate things if necessary. So. Jared, if you can give Blake the controls, we will dive right in.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Blake, you should be able to switch over to your screen now for the presentation.
All right. Can you see my end?
Yes, sir.
All right, perfect. Let me see if I can get this out of the way. All right. So first off, for all the newcomers, I'm sure this looks familiar, but still we're going to go over just some of the basics as far as getting logged in, where to go. I'm just at gotsoccer.com right now. You can get there if you just enter gotsport.com as well. It's going to take you to the same website, and we're going to go ahead and just press login in the upper right. We are all club admin, so we will be logging in under organizations. These other logins are for parents, college coaches, teams, and referees. So we will always be logging in as organization in upper left. And I'm going to go ahead and jump straight to the account that I'm already logged in. but you will just put your username and password. If you forget what your email or what your password is, you can go ahead and just press your account lookup, enter your email, and we'll send you your password reset instructions. So obviously, feel free to contact support if you need to, but otherwise you can handle that just by pressing account lookup. Now, once we get logged in, this will be the first screen you see. We're going to be doing a majority of our work today under this club tab. This is kind of your home base as far as setting up programs, which I'm sure a lot of you have already done under this programs tab, but also just your basic club management. Adding players to teams, creating teams, adding coaches. If we ever need to clean up some of the information we have, maybe archiving players or archiving coaches, which that's where we'll start today. If we got a lot of players and coaches in the system already, before we start the new season, we might want to come in and just clean that information up. So under club, I'm going to jump to players to start. And first, we can either just reset their competitive levels, which I'm sure a lot of people do. You can see, let's see where, I don't think we have to, here we go, level, right now, level grade, we've got these set to wings. If we needed to reset everybody, we can go ahead and check the box, the upper box, which is going to check everybody. And you'll see here, set level grade section. This is where you can control what level, what competitive level we're going to set all of these players. If we want to just reset it to nothing, you can go ahead and keep it on this empty space and press set level grade, which will reset their level and grade. Or if we want to archive any of those old players that have left the club, we can select those players, choose archive, and go ahead and press set level grade, which will archive them. It kind of sends them to the club graveyard. You can always bring them back if you need to. Maybe they come back to the club. We can unarchive them, but it just cleans up your list. Same process as far as coaches and managers. We're still under club here, and we can just jump over to coaches, team officials, or managers, and it's going to be the same process. You're going to check the box. I don't have too many coaches in my club account. I keep it really clean. But you can check their box and go ahead and archive them, or if you need to reset their competitive level. I'm going to jump back to players here. The main way to get players into the system would be setting up that player registration program like we talked about. I'm sure a majority of you have already done that. Once they're in here and we have their competitive level set and we've archived the old ones, we can start now assigning them to teams, which if we want to do that in bulk, we can go ahead and just select these players in bulk. And just like you would set their competitive level or grade, you can choose what team you want to assign them to. And this is just going to show every single team that you have in your club account. All right, let's see. Uploading players, I think that's something we want to go ahead and go over. If we're not building player registrations, uploading players is a quick way to get them into the system. Still under this players tab, we're going to go to the upload players as opposed to manage players. We can go ahead and choose file. Sorry, we got slow home Wi-Fi. And you'll select that file that you're going to upload with all the players. And let me just do this real quick and show you what this is going to look like. The next thing you'll have to do is just match up the columns of that file. So the basic information, first name, last name, gender, date of birth, competitive level. I don't believe the state and address is required, but all you need to do is match up those columns, and then you can import that data to quickly get all of those players into the system. Next step, we can go ahead and get the teams in here. So still under club tab, we can jump over to teams and just set up those teams. We're going to need these teams set up before we can assign those players to those teams. So we can come to add team, and really straightforward. The only things that are required are the level grade. We can put the team name, gender, age group. Obviously, we'll select the state, switch this to Florida. And you can set their login information down here. Once that team is created, you can see you can do it here as you're setting up the team. Otherwise, after the team is created, you can, in order to assign those coaches to the team, you just need to click on the team name. And based off of the coaches that you have in the system, you will be able to assign the coach, assistant coach, or manager to the team. And I'm going to go ahead and on that note, jump over to our coaches tab. As far as verifications go, once the coaches log in to their coach accounts, they'll automatically be able to see the background check tab that they can click on. So just the fact that they're a coach, manager, or user in the state of Florida, they'll automatically have those requirements that they need to go through. Let's see, just going down this list. Archiving teams, we can go ahead and jump to the Teams tab. Kind of sticking to the theme of cleaning up the system. If we have any old teams, the process is the same, whether it's with players, coaches, or teams. Select the team, and we can set that level grade to archive. And this is really something I emphasize at least season by season to keep up with this, so we don't have clunky data. We don't have to old teams and players starting to cloud the information that we have in the system. Now, once we have the teams in here, we've set up the rosters, we've assigned all those players to their teams. Next step would be to assign those teams to the FYSA registration events so we can get those player passes and cards. We can go ahead and select the teams. I'm going to register them in a specific event. So let me, I'm going to use my CJF League demo. So this would be your FYSA 2020-2021 player registration passes and cards event. We're going to submit those teams to that event. Press select. And my apologies. You have to select the event first. Then it's going to show you all the teams that are not in that event. So you don't accidentally double submit teams to that event. It's going to show you the ones that are not there. We can go ahead and select all them. Choose a fee if there is one. And now I just sent those teams to that registration event. I can now go under Registrar tab. I'll see that event, CJF League Demo. This will be your FYSA registration event. Sorry, 1 second. Is this the right one? Here we go. I'm clicking on the number of teams, 35. And now you'll see the list of teams that you have registered to that specific event. We can check the box next to that team if we need to generate the rosters for those teams. You'll see your player list. And once you submit those rosters, this number should match with this roster list. This is your official roster. So once you check those teams and you generate the roster, your player list number should match your roster number. You can also check the teams, and if you want to give them the ability to create their own docs and print those, you can check the box next to those teams and then create doc to allow those coaches to go in and get those documents. And I know jumped around as far as setting up teams and registering them, but anything I'm missing, state guys, as far as your process goes?
That's certainly a good overview there of what it takes. I'm wondering if you could jump into just a little bit of the background check stuff. I think that's pretty essential for the new coaches. And
okay, as far as
I was getting ready
by coaches.
I was getting ready to add also that with the when you was telling them about the background check, I mean adding coaches to the roster, they have to make sure that background check, Safe Sport, and CDC is complete before that coach would attach to the roster. So that is important. So Joel is right. We need to talk about the background check.
Okay, so what we can do here, I've only got these couple coaches here, but if we need a filter by those coaches that have completed that and they're approved, we can do that here. Something we might want to do is just filter by all the ones that are pending, so we can email those coaches from here if we need to and say, hey, you're still pending, you're not approved. We need you to go ahead and go on and take those requirements so that we can assign you to your team so you can do whatever you need to do with the player passes and cards. So that's something you can do under both coaches and team officials as far as filtering who has and hasn't completed the risk management, and then email them out. Is that what you're talking about, Alice? Or do you want to see it from the actual coach's perspective?
Yes, I want to see it from the coach's perspective as well, where they can see where they have made sure they have completed everything and is tagged to the team. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say both ideally.
Okay, let me log into one of my coach accounts then. 1 second. Sorry. I wanted to see if I have one that's attached to Florida so that it would look a little cleaner, because my demo ones I don't think are.
Okay.
I can't. I'm trying to stop sharing the screen so I can jump to that real quick, but I don't know how to use this. Here, what I can do is I'm just going to pull it up in the manual that I have, because it's got the screenshots of exactly what it's going to look like. And this is something that if we want to go ahead and post this in the chat right now, the link to this registrar manual, which is pretty much going to summarize everything that we just went through step by step. And I'll jump down to the coach's view in the risk management. So once a coach gets logged in, you can see here coach account. This is what they're going to see. Welcome back, whoever the coach is. I think it might bring them to the home tab first, and they can jump over to my profile if they need to edit their basic information. But jumping to the learning center, they'll be able to see the CDC, Safe Sport. They can take those courses here, and then they'll have that background checks tab directly to the left of that, so they can go take that background check. But that's all directly in their account. So there's nothing the club needs to do to put that in there. As soon as the coach is registered or added as a coach or a manager or a user, they'll automatically have those requirements show up under their Learning Center tab, and then their background check under their background check tab. Once that's completed, the club can then go in and filter by those specific coaches or managers that have not completed that. Are we getting any specific questions in the chat, or do we want to go ahead and open it up if people have questions they want to ask?
Yeah, not seeing any questions right now, but if anyone would like to ask something, please use the hand feature or just type it into the chat, and we'll get that addressed here as fast as we can.
So for new registrars, most of the work we're doing is under this club tab. I'm sure most of you, like I said, set up those programs. Post-registration, we'll do a lot of our work under the players tab to archive any old players, assign those players to their teams. We can then register those teams to the event under the teams tab. And if we need to check on coaches that have not completed their risk management, we'll do that under the coaches tab. But really, this club tab is your home, and you'll be doing most of your club managements under the blue club tab. I'll also point out, while working in the system, if you forget how to add a team or you forget how to add a coach to a team, we've got this little help bubble in the bottom right. You can live chat a GotSoccer rep Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. They'll get you a quick answer. Also, if you want to go ahead and take down our support number, if you need to call in, same time, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, that number is 904-746-4446. So that's a quick way. I like to just get a hold of somebody. But we also have a support tab while you're working in the account, or even if you're not logged in, you can jump to the support. But pressing on the support tab here, you can actually search for specific articles or open up a support ticket on something specific that you're working on. So if it's a bigger picture question, you can submit a support ticket and we'll have somebody reach out, most likely to schedule a call with you so you can walk through that.
Hey, Blake, I've got a question here from Tom Tianich. He's going to activate his mic if you could talk to him real quick about his question.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, Tom, you're free to.
Blake, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
How are you? It's not a question. Alice doesn't want me to talk because this is a beginner's registrar, so she's going to tell me later to shut up. But in the meantime, I feel the most underused feature, especially the new registrar thing, is universal login. And I think if you teach your new registrar, who in many cases are parents who have a player account, another player account, a family account, a coach account, a team manager account, maybe a referee account, if you can show them what universal login does, and I know it's going to go away when we go to GotSport, but now, I mean, that's a lifesaver because people forget passwords, and having 17 different passwords, I just teach them that and you've done your job. Thanks.
No, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. And as you said, I want to touch on again that this will change once we go to the new system. So we don't want everybody getting too used to having multiple accounts. But while you're working in this legacy system, it would definitely help to have a universal account, so you don't have to juggle all your different types of accounts. And what we mean by that is once we press login, you'll notice when we first got started, all of these different types of accounts. You know, it could be kind of confusing if you don't know what account. Like, are you trying to log in as a coach, a team, a player, an admin? So we do have this universal account option. If you want to set up a universal account, you can create one here. And pretty much you're just going to import your other accounts that you have. And this is a real situation where you have a mom that has a player account, maybe a couple player accounts. And then that means they might have a family account as well. They're also an admin for the club. So they log in under organizations, and they happen to be a coach as well. So they've technically got, 4, 5, 6 different accounts they can log into, but they can just create a universal account and actually import all of those accounts into the universal account. All you need is the login information for each account, and you're pretty much housing your multiple accounts under one umbrella, so you don't have to juggle all your logins. Now, it would still help to keep track of those logins. You might need them down the road, but just to save you some time logging in and out, you can use this universal account.
Hey, I got a question text message to me here. Is it, it's about 3-year-olds, I guess. Is there a lower bound in GotSoccer for an age group that you can register? And also they wanted to touch on either birth year, calendar birth year kind of stuff.
Okay, as far as U3, there is no lower option. We just have this other or open. So depending on what the situation is, we'll just use those options to allow those younger kids to register. And then down the road, once they become of age, we can, set it to whatever we need to. And then as far as any specific question as far as calendar year versus school year, I know most states are on the calendar year. So
yeah, and I believe that we are on a full calendar year as well. If I remember right, there is a way that you can toggle between looking at players by birth year and school grade year, correct? That's a feature of the program, yeah.
Yeah, whenever you're setting up the program, you can kind of set that up right off the bat. So are we going to use the school year or calendar year? You'll choose that by program. And then once those players register, they're just naturally going to get set up with whatever choice you choose.
Got it. Jared, it looks like. Oh,
is there a way I can see these tabs?
Another footnote onto what you were just saying about the calendar year. All you new registrars, remember, come August 1st, everything will roll 1 year ahead. So do not set your teams up. If they're going to be U18 next year, set everything up for U17, because on midnight of July 31st, everything will roll to the next year. So therefore, if you haven't set it 18 on the 1st, they're going to roll to 19. So make sure they set 1 year back until August 1st, and then everything will flow.
Right. And that's just critical. As long as you choose this correct seasonal year,
right,
then it'll add them to the right calendar year group. So that's just important.
Can a U3 player be uploaded to the system? That was some clarification that I just got on the question. Is there any lower bound if you're trying to upload?
A U3 player can be uploaded. Now a U2, we'd probably have to put that age group as open. I haven't tested that, to be honest, so that's something I can run through and test later and see what happens. But otherwise, we can just put open for that U2, and then at any point when they're in the system, we can change them to U3 once they come of age, or whatever we need to do with that.
Okay.
So
yeah, we recently made a bylaw change to allow U3s. I believe that's correct, isn't it, Jared?
Yes, I believe so. Question from the chat. Blake, Alice, maybe one of you guys can answer. Does a child have to be 4 by August 1st? Do they have to turn?
So as long as they have that, let me go back to that program. If they select calendar year and they select 2021, the system's just going to use whatever date of birth they're going to be for this seasonal year, or whatever age group they're going to be for this seasonal year. So they'll put in their normal date of birth, and the system's going to put them in. They might not already be 4, but if they're going to be 4 by the time the season starts, then they'll make the cut.
Perfect.
So
Thank
for
you.
clarification, because I think this crosses over into FYSA, what's being referenced here is bylaw 211.2, and it states that a player must have attained his or her 3rd birthday in order to register with FYSA.
Alice, are you familiar with that one?
Yes, that was the bylaw change that we changed it for the 3-year-olds. That was able to allow the 3-year-olds to be able to be rostered because we just flipped it to 3-year-olds, I
Okay.
think 2 years ago.
Yep.
So that is correct.
I'm wondering if you can touch on the verified component. That tends to be pretty big for our
Yep.
registrars as well.
Yep, I jumped past that. So as far as verifying specific players, they upload their documents. We can go, we're still under this club tab. We can come to players. I'm gonna click into a specific player. We can go to the documents tab, and I'm gonna go ahead and upload a document for him. Call this the birth doc, proof of age, whatever we call it. Right. My apologies, my computer's moving slow on me, and I'm not sure if this is something that's just because I'm not attached to Florida, but the Alice, typically the verify buttons on this page under the documents tab when you go verify it, correct?
Yes, the club will verify it. It will be there to show that you verified. But one of the things they must do before they upload it, make sure they get the player's full name, check their birth date, make sure everything agree at that point, and correct it on that player page before they verify, because they need to make sure the birth date that the player registered with agrees with what's on the birth certificate and the full name.
Right.
Because once you do the verify, it locks it, and then it goes to the state, and then the state locks it. The only way they will get corrected if there is an error, you have to show that proof of that birth certificate, and the state office would have to go in and make that change. So one of the requirements as the club registrar, you will need to make sure you verify that document is accurate with the right person, because sometimes clubs can allow parents to upload. They might not have uploaded the correct document into that player's account. So you need to make sure that's the correct document to go with that player, verify the name and the birthday before you actually verify.
Right, and that verify button is going to be right below this.
Right.
As a Florida club, I believe in my demo account, I'm still set to Pennsylvania. My apologies on that. But you'll see that here. And right, like she said, before we press that verify, make sure that's the full name we're going to use, because it's locked in. Then we got to go through other steps to change that if we ever need to, and that's just a hassle for the state. So make sure that's what you want before you verify that document.
Also, a reminder from Rosemary within chat, you need to use the legal name to be associated with that profile too.
Right. Not Ricky, not Rick. We got Ricardo here. And that's just, it does everybody a favor. We're trying to prevent those duplicate accounts. The families get confused whenever they go try to register and they have multiple accounts. The coaches get confused when they're not seeing the player. So always try to use that same full legal name. And if you don't know your login, don't just create a new account. Try to pass it on to the parents as well. You can reach out to our support center. We'll get you logged into the correct account, and we'll merge any duplicates if there are any. But don't just create new ones if we can't find it. We can help you out and get you into the account you need to be in.
Blake, you just touched on another subject I have note down here, the customization and merging accounts. If you could go over those 2 steps.
Customization and merchant accounts?
Yes.
As far as
of a player, you know, how you can customize, you can show the, have all the team numbers, IDs. If you have 1 or 2 missing, you can go in and do that. All the player ID numbers, if you're missing the player ID, make sure that it registered, and the customization, duplication, merging the accounts together. That's one of Rosemary's big thing, number out there.
Okay, are you talking about customization here, like for players, the jersey numbers if you need to, under club management players?
Jersey numbers, like once you register the team in and you're missing the team ID and the club ID, if you have more than 5 or 6 out there, you don't have to go into each individual. You can go into customization and hit a button, and they all put in all the team IDs and all the player IDs at one time under
Here, show me
customization.
where they typically do that. Is that registrar or where they?
No, it's under the club tab,
Okay.
and then you see customization there. And then you can go on to see IDs, ID numbers, club settings. Right. And you see, and all the teams that did not have a team ID, you can press that button. It will load one in. If they don't have all the player IDs, it will load it in. And it will put in all that information, so everything will be uniform when it goes over to the state.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Alice. Yeah, I wasn't aware of this process with some of the states I work with, so thanks for throwing that in. Is anything else under here that you want me to click on and show?
No, consolidation will be the other thing, merging the two accounts. Can you go over that part? I think that's across all the states.
Yes. Let me think. Remind me, Alice, I've been working in the new system. What tab am I going to for duplicate accounts?
It's club,
Right.
customization. Oh no, it's club account tools.
I'm trying to look.
Yeah, there we go. Account tools. Yeah, I got it. So if we, and this will happen, we're going to have coaches with 2 accounts. We're going to have managers with 2 accounts, players with 2 accounts. If that happens, we're under club, management, account tools, and this is where we can merge those different types of accounts. So you can see we're starting under players, but you can do coaches and managers as well. I'm just going to press go here. I got lucky. I only have 1 player with a duplicate account, you can see, and they only have 2 different accounts, so that's not bad. And what I can do here is if you want to do a little research, look into the accounts, see which one has the most information. You can check the box, the green box next to the account you want to keep, and then you'll check the orange square next to the account you want to move into that. So you're just going to merge it into the top one and keep that account. Let me see if we got more under coaches so you can see maybe a little better example. There we go. We got this coach with 149 different accounts. So this is worst case scenario. We're going to come check the one we want to keep. None of these really have any information, so this won't matter. And then you can merge all of these other accounts into that one account and press merge selected. I would just do this as a chore at the end of every month. Go check on players that might have duplicate accounts, and that'll just keep everybody's job in check when we're going through registration period. Once again, club, account tools, and you can do it for players, coaches, and managers.
It looks like there's a couple new ones in the chat there, Jared. Oh, no, maybe not.
Just people saying hi.
If anybody has any specific questions, like I said, I dropped that number 904-746-4446 while working in the account, or feel free, if it's more of a big picture question on how to kind of get things started and set up, feel free to reach out to me directly at blake@gotsoccer.com, or you can do blake@gotsport.com. They all come to me. I like to jump on a quick phone call. So if we want to just schedule a quick phone call to go through what you're going over, I can answer any questions you have.
Hey, Blake, it's something that you may not, there's not a whole lot to demo on it, but could you talk about just the importance of the competitive level for the teams, how you can change it for teams, how it'll associate to players, and how it helps us with billing?
Right. So most of the clubs, I'm guessing, will have those travel/competitive teams and then the rec teams. So whenever we're setting up those teams initially, we would want to go ahead and try to choose that competitive level right off the bat, which we will do. It's slightly different in the new system. I am blanking. I guess we'll just do that after the fact here. I think they'll start with no level grade, and they're changing this a bit in the new system, so that's why it's just bringing me back a bit. But for here, we just want to make sure we're going through and checking all those travel teams or those competitive teams, and we'll assign that here. This helps. Obviously, there's different in prices with those rec players versus competitive players. So whenever you submit those competitive teams to the registration, they're getting charged as competitive players. So if we accidentally assign all our teams as competitive and submit them, obviously there's going to be an issue with that. So we want to make sure before we submit those teams to whatever registration event we're going to, we can check all those teams and assign their competitive level beforehand. So we're not getting charged too much or too little.
The important thing, I think, too, is that when you assign the competitive level for the team, it assigns it to all of the players who are on that team as well. Competitive level is just so important with us at FYSA when you're looking at the difference between a competitive player and a rec player. The differences are outlined in our bylaws, so please feel free to look at those if there's ever any question on it. Is this a rec player? Is this a competitive level? But I'd further like to mention a conversation I've recently had with Dave Robinson, our top soccer administrator or chair. Dave really thought that there may be a bit of a lack of knowledge in getting the players registered as top soccer participants. So make sure that you registrars on here are also cognizant of any top soccer players that need to be registered. Particularly, you want to make sure that you use that proper competitive level so that you don't get charged. Our top soccer players get billed at $0, and that's why there's an important distinction between that level that you give the players, whether it's competitive rec or top soccer. I'm not sure that we have an academy level in there as well, I believe, but that's rarely used. So make sure that your players or your teams, which in turn will also give the competitive level to players, are given the proper competitive level.
Yeah, another comment from Rosemary. She just wants to remind everyone when setting up the billing, only use the levels of rec, comp, or tops for FYSA, because that's what we specifically use within the system at this time.
Yep, these won't be the ones you guys have. Rec, comp, and top.
I got another question texted here about when a player is properly registered and insured. So in order for a player to be considered registered without FYSA, which you could say means the same thing as insured, because a player is not insured until they're registered, that will be some of the steps that Blake went over earlier as far as submitting a team to the registration event. So Blake, if you could just show really quickly any registration, or maybe just even run over this process top to bottom. So this is once you have your team already formed in GotSoccer, moving them over to the registration event. And we do get a lot of questions on this. People feel that once they form their team in the club tab, that's enough, that the team is registered and they're insured. Right. It's this extra step that is so critical that will bill you for them, that will also get them insured. So Blake, I'll throw it to you just real quickly there.
Sure. Yep, I'll go through that. And we're under this Teams tab. I'm going to go ahead and select my test registration event. This will be your 2020-2021 registration event. And I'm going to, you'll press select, and you'll see here in red it's saying these are all the teams not registered in this event yet. So I'm going to go ahead and just check all of them in this case. Maybe there's that one, rec team or top soccer team we're not submitting. We can go ahead and press enter selected teams. We'll press OK. Now what I'm going to do is go to this registrar tab. And that test event you'll see, I'm going to go over to the number of teams, those 4 teams I just submitted. And now, in order to generate those rosters and actually officially kind of lock that in, I'm going to check all of these players or these teams again and press generate rosters. Now let me return to my list. Now those rosters have been generated and locked in. And my demo account, you'll see there were some errors with my players. They probably weren't verified. They didn't have birth certificates. So some of them didn't move over. Only these ones that are officially under this roster tab are the verified ones. So that's when you can keep track of, all right, what's wrong with these players that didn't go over? Maybe we need to go add some documents for them. But all of these players that are now over here are officially on their roster, and that's how they'll get insured. So that's locked once we generate that roster.
Can you click on maybe that lowest team there, the test import, just to show them what it would look like, how they would maybe address those issues? Because it's a great check to have on the outside there, 2 versus 8. But if you click on and come in here, you can really see what the problem is with those kids.
Yeah, and let me see if I can get a good error. Team roster has already been frozen. All right, so this one in this example, they froze the roster, so I'm not able to generate this roster. It's going to give you that error code. It could say player not verified, so it'll give you a list of the players that didn't import, and it'll say these players weren't verified. They need to go and get verified. So this is where it'll tell you what's going on, and I'll just try one other team and see if I can get a better error code for us.
Yeah, if you can try to
go back to that page, Blake. One of the things is also in Florida, we would have on that same page. Yeah, right. Just click on it. There will be a triangle. Sometimes the teams at the bottom, the reason why they're not uploaded, they are already on another team. So they would have to be released before you can add them to that team as well. So it becomes a triangle. You can hover over near to say already rostered to a different team. You would have to release it or move it over to the new team, the team that you're trying to roster to at that time. And one other thing is, once the team is rostered, like you did generate a roster mass, when you go back and add individual players, if you do not at the bottom add this player up, does not make it up at the top where it's generated, then it still would not be counted for billing, nor will be covered by insurance. So if it's at the bottom and it's not go up to the top on the generated rosters, you still would not be covered by insurance, nor will you be billed for that player. They would have to be rostered, like it was to add. If you add that player up, then it would be generated to the roster and it would be billed and the insurance would be covered. Long as below the line, it's still not covered by insurance.
Yep. And another comment
and you
from
can see
Rosemary. Sorry about that, Blake. She states that players are considered insured once they are on the roster. If they are just simply on the team list, they will not be insured or covered by FYSA in general. So piggybacking off of what you guys are saying. So.
Sure. And reach out to the support center if you think you're done, or you don't want to click the wrong button and submit the wrong roster. Reach out to us. We'll walk you through it and make sure you're doing it correctly that first time.
One thing that I used to like putting out there to people, just so you're kind of aware of, I guess, the hierarchy of this, there's not much from a club registrar standpoint that you can really screw up, I guess, that we can't undo. While there is a lot of places, particularly in the registrar tab, that you can click on, and particularly in the legacy system, if you come to us and something's happened, I'm very confident that Rosemary or Blake or somebody from the GotSoccer staff can fix it, get it back to where it used to be.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Joel, Alice, we got another question from chat from Jennifer Gibbons. Are you able to register a player as a developmental player where they can participate throughout the rec season, but also train with a competitive team? I believe the answer is no, but just throwing that out there.
That would be on the club level, because that's crossing over between rec and competitive, because the only way you could be able to do that is secondary, but the answer would be that's going to be come back to club, because to be on two teams, you got to be secondary, primary on one and secondary in the other one. We normally do not mix the rec and the competitive together. So that would have to come back from the club level and player development, coaches player development department.
We can have some clarification to you on that if you want to send one of us an email. There's going to be a lot of in-betweens, right? I mean, Alice is correct. If you're going to ever play for a game in that competitive environment on that competitive team, yeah, it's going to be a dual registration type of scenario. However, if it's just a matter of training, going to practices, I think Alice is correct in that it's about what the club thinks is the best environment for that player. Like that pretty much covers my list here. Let me do another text.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
no,
just in
that's,
case, just in
sorry.
case for all those in chat, I am sending myself, Joel, and email or Alice's email on the FYSA state level in the chat. So if you need to contact us, it'll be available there.
Thanks, Jared.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, this really is the intro stuff. We ran over it pretty quick. Those support manuals are out there. Rosemary's out there. Please don't struggle with this system for an extended amount of time, guys. There are a lot of resources. Rosemary's put together some really practical step-by-step instructions that we can utilize as well. And again, as we've talked about, the GOT Sports system is just a year away. So we'll be training everybody up in just a couple of months here over the course of the next year.
We got another
And
question.
that really,
Sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, I was just going to say the new systems, it's great, guys. I almost struggled going through this old system, and it really kind of highlighted to me that the big changes we made and how much more user-friendly it is in the new system. We've consolidated a lot of things, but I'm looking forward to training you guys on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, we got another question from Tom. Tom, you should be able to speak now.
Hey, Blake, we get to the end of the season, and end up finding a commissioner's cup checking in teams that there's way too many on-site player passes. Can you please show the registrar how to upload the signature into the register tab so that when their pass is printed, the signature is already on it? Thanks.
Can you repeat that last part? You broke up there just a little bit. Just uploading a signature to registrar tab?
Yeah, register tab. Just go to register and then signature and show them where they can upload their PNG file. And when their player passes print, they're going to be proper passes rather than referees having to say to the kids, you can't play because your registrar doesn't know what they're doing.
Gotcha. Understood. Yeah.
Plus,
so under this registrar tab, under this registrar tab, if we jump to the signature tab below that, that's where we can upload that primary signature. If you have that JPEG, PNG, or GIF file, you can upload that here. So it is the legitimate card. You have that registrar signature that you need. And I'll just do that again. That's under registrar. And then you can go directly to signature and upload that file.
Correct. And if you actually download yourself, there's a button below it that says a printable signature card. You can actually have your signature on a nice little FISA background. Well, yours doesn't have it because you're in a different state, but actually we'll have a Florida Youth Soccer Association logo, like a watermark in the background. And when you sign it, it looks good.
One other thing I want to add to go along with what Joel said earlier, do not struggle out there, because GotSoccer can set a webinar up for you and just go over everything with you and then have questions with your club. And so that is out there as well. So we could get with them and schedule time and be a one-on-one webinar and go over everything that could pertain to your club. And so do not struggle.
Alice, do you have that link that they can schedule through, or do you need me to send that to you?
You can send that to me, because usually they call us and we called either Dave or, and we set it up, but you can send me the link and we can schedule it as well. You can put it out on the chat and we can capture it from there. I can get it from Jared, so we can, but they can definitely set up a webinar.
Okay, I'm trying to find that chat. I can't figure out how to get to the chat when I'm in here. Let's see.
Well, if you just give it
over here.
Jared, I think Jared can put it out there.
Yeah, I'll send it over to Jared. Anything else you guys need to cover while I pull up this link?
Do we have any other questions from chat, attendees? Anyone need to get some final verification on something tonight?
Hey, Jared, can you just shoot me an email and I'll respond with that link that you can pass on so people can schedule those one-on-ones if needed?
Yeah, sure. Give me a
Can't
moment.
find it. Okay, yep, no rush. I can't find that chat. Once again, if anybody has any specific questions, feel free to reach out to me, Blake@GotSoccer.com, Blake@GotSport.com, and we can hop on a quick call to go over any questions you have.
Well, thanks, Blake. Much appreciated, everybody. And let's see, we've got about 40 minutes until the next webinar, which will be hosted by Jennifer Murphy, Dara Cullen on tournament sanctioning process. So grab a quick bite to eat, everybody, and we'll see you back here next.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.